Wow, guys, Biden just got some pretty terrifying news after Ted Cruz exposes this crazy amount of information. You guys gotta check this video out. But if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss none of the latest videos that I post. Let's get right to it.
Joining me now is Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, thanks for joining us tonight. Why weren't we able to track the billions and billions of dollars that we sent to Ukraine, which ended up obviously being in a stalemate?
Well, look, because the Biden administration didn't want to. They didn't care about tracking it. They were just shoveling cash out the door. And the irony is, Joe Biden caused this war in the first place. If Donald Trump had been in the Oval Office, there would be no war in Ukraine. And I'll tell you what the precipitating cause of this war was, is Biden waived the sanctions on Nord Stream 2, the pipeline from Russia to Germany, that I authored into law. I wrote those sanctions into law. Putin was building that pipeline, and Putin stopped building that pipeline literally the day President Trump signed my sanctions legislation into law. That had prevented the war, and when Biden came in, he waived those sanctions, and that led directly to the war in Ukraine. Biden's weakness got Ukraine and got America into this mess.
Well, today, the panoply of voices, the usual forever war crowd, saying Trump's a poodle of Putin, Trump's echoing Kremlin talking points. And your response?
Well, listen, President Trump campaigned very clearly last year, and it was clear he was going to end this war. And he's going to end this war, I think, in the first half of this year. Now, I hope he ends it in a way that is a clear and obvious loss for Putin. I think that's good for America. But Trump has no interest in just pouring billions and billions of dollars into this war forever. And I got to say, whoever is advising Zelensky, he's getting terrible advice because he's turning around and running to the European press and attacking President Trump. And you and I both know the president very well. It is hard to find a strategy that is more likely to produce the opposite of what Zelensky wants and what he's doing right now, which is just insulting Trump.
And
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. We need to investigate these accounts that Joe Biden was sending money to, because something is fishy going on there, and that's something that everybody knows. Everybody's not telling the same lie. And the people that think DOGE is so bad are the Democrats that are so corrupt, the people that actually have something to hide. It's almost like the pardons, the preemptive pardons that Joe Biden sent out. You wouldn't be giving pardons to people if you didn't feel like they did something wrong or if they didn't do anything wrong, you know? So stop sitting there, and the Democrats need to stop sitting there and act like everything Trump's doing is wrong at this point. Ted Cruz, you're 1,000% right. 10,000. Let's keep going, man. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel.
Donald Trump just spoke about Ukraine, Senator. Watch.
I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered.
No more
and
money to
millions
Ukraine.
And millions of people have unnecessarily died. And you can't bring a war to an end if you don't talk to both sides. You got to talk. They haven't been talking for 3 years. So we hope to see a ceasefire soon and to reestablish stability in Europe and the Middle East.
And also, guys, later on in that conference, that speech, he said they're heavily considering giving out $5,000 to Americans from the DOGE proceedings that they get. 20% to Americans, 20% to the debt, and then 60% to make sure we are going to keep going as a country. Make sure that money gets dumped back into the right things. That's why people think food stamps are stopping, Medicaid stopping. Not stopping if they're keeping some of this money to make sure the programs are gave out the right way, and some people don't get denied, because I think a lot more people could probably use this help. True Americans could use this help, especially after this Biden Kamala stuff going on, Obama and Clinton. Words can't even describe some of the stuff they did to this country, guys. Words cannot describe. They need to be in prison.
Well, he wants America to be in some way repaid for the money that we've blown over there. It's like $250 billion in the end. That's probably how much it'll be. And it might be through mineral rights. It might be through some energy deal where every country participates. Would that, in your mind, be giving too much to Vladimir Putin?
Oh, look, I think it would make an enormous amount of sense for America to be repaid. Ukraine has vast resources, and that makes a lot of sense. But we don't want, listen, Putin has been explicit. He says that he considers the greatest geopolitical disaster of the 20th century to be the dissolution of the Soviet Union. And he wants to reassemble the Soviet Union. It's not in America's interest for him to do that.
He has the economy the size of France, Senator.
Well, he does, but he also has a massive nuclear weapons arsenal, and he has delusions of grandeur.
Why is Europe not paying for their own defense, then? If this is an existential threat to Europe, why have the American taxpayers been on the hook for 80 years?
Okay, Laura, to be clear, we should have prevented this war, and I wrote the legislation that killed the Nord Stream pipeline that President Trump signed.
All right, but that's over. So now, now the question is, should America still be on the hook for defending Europe when Europe is apparently against free speech, doesn't believe in a Second Amendment, doesn't believe in any rights, has a massive refugee crisis, and apparently doesn't think Putin is a big enough threat to pay for its own defense?
Look, there's no doubt Europe should be contributing and contributing more, but Europe are also strong allies. And so I don't think the right lesson to take from this is that we should just run away from Europe. And,
we can work with them, but should we be carrying the lion's share of the defense burden?
I agree that the Biden administration was happy just to write checks from the American taxpayers and not to have Europe carry a heavier load. That was a serious mistake. But the even bigger mistake was causing the war. Look, this war was caused by Joe Biden's weakness as commander-in-chief. And the biggest difference in the last month in terms of foreign policy is our enemies are terrified of Donald Trump. That is good when our enemies are afraid of the president. When they view him as weak and ineffective, which Biden was, it encourages the bad guys to be more aggressive.
That's what I've been trying to tell guys, man. Trump stands on business. He's willing to put his foot down. He's willing to tell you exactly how it's going to go. You know, before he even was in office, he said, I think it was like a Tuesday. You know, he said if those hostages aren't back by Tuesday morning, you know, before he got in office, all HELL is going to break loose. You know, double hockey sticks, whatever you want to say. But he said that, guys, and yo, the hostages came home. Let's keep going, guys.
We didn't even have time to get to the independent agencies that are all unconstitutional. But do you think that actually will be an issue that Trump will be able to win on?
Look, I hope so. I think it's great that he's asserting the president's authority over so-called independent agencies.
Yeah.
It is to tee up a Supreme Court case to overturn a case both you and I are familiar with, Humphrey's executor, that upheld the idea that part of the executive branch could be separate of the president. That's directly contrary to Article 2 of the Constitution. I'm glad President Trump is standing up and reasserting the president's power.
Everyone gets, continuing legal education credit for what Ted Cruz just said. Senator, great to see you as always. Thanks so much for coming.
I'm sorry, guys. I'll talk majority of this video. I really want to know, how bad do you think this Biden administration actually is? Do you think it's going to last Trump, into year 2 of presidency of still fixing his problems? I was saying this a little bit before things got out of hand, with the California fires, with these planes crashing. A lot of planes actually crashed in 2024 also, but now the planes are crashing. Everybody wants to blame it on Trump. Let me know what you guys think about that one also, because a lot of it's not making sense. A lot of media doesn't want to cover certain things. A lot of media just wants to frame the Republicans as being bad people, when at some point you got to call the Democrats out on their BS. That's why DOGE was created. A lot of people hate when the bully gets beat up sometimes. I don't know why, but hey, that's what we're witnessing now. So let me know what you guys think about this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and as always, let me know what you react to. We're out.